Brandon got together with a woman who looked just like me. I rushed back to the country, only to find him whispering reassuringly into her ear. With me here, no one will dare bully you. The girl blushed, shrinking away as if ticklish. Stop. Don't be like that. A playful glint flashed in Brandon's eyes. He seemed to find her reaction utterly adorable. Everyone looked at each other, then glanced at me awkwardly. In this room, I was the only one capable of making her feel wronged. It turns out it only takes a year for a man's heart to change. My friends whispered, indignant on my behalf. Today was supposed to be my welcome home party. I had been abroad for a year and had rushed back without stopping. But they told me Brandon had a new love. The moment I saw the girl, an indescribable pain hit my chest. Because the first time I saw her was in a photo, shortly after I went abroad. Brandon sent it to me. He said, "I thought it was you." I had joked back. "Why? Miss me?" "Yeah, I do." I called out to the wrong person and scared her. The back view in the photo really did look like mine. Then, one day, Brandon suddenly told me, "Let's go back to being friends." "Why?" "I'm afraid it'll delay your studies. We can talk about us when you get back." Because of that sentence, I raced against time to finish my dissertation, ending my life as an overseas student early. But it wasn't until tonight that I learned he had a girlfriend. The girl's name was Chloe. She was Brandon's junior from college. While we were talking, Brandon led Chloe back from the restroom. Chloe's lips were swollen, and she had freshly applied lipstick in an attempt to cover something up. Her eyes were watery. Everyone knew what that meant. Being gone that long wasn't just for a bathroom break. Brandon smiled casually. "Sorry. She's shy. I have to stay with her." The scene stung my eyes, and I quickly lowered my head. The crowd, who had just been indignant for me, instantly changed their tune. "Treating the wifey well. That's how it should be." One of Brandon's buddies laughed. "You have to treat our sister-in-law right. She was with you through the hardest times. It's hard to find someone so considerate. Better than someone who flies far away." I silently drank my lemon water, a bitter taste in my mouth. In their eyes, I was the one who abandoned Brandon. But only Brandon knew why I, someone with severe social anxiety, had gritted my teeth and gone to a foreign country to study. Chloe noticed me. She tugged at Brandon and whispered, "She looks so much like me." Brandon smiled. "Nonsense. You're the prettiest." Chloe blushed deeper. "Stop. Don't be like that." That playful look returned to his eyes. He clearly loved this reaction. Someone changed the subject and started talking about me. "I heard you finished a 3-year course in 2 years and were hospitalized recently. What happened?" My smile was strained. I was eager to come home. "I skipped meals and got some stomach issues. I'll be fine with some rest." Everyone secretly observed Brandon's reaction. He kept his eyes down, busy peeling crab meat for Chloe. Cold and indifferent, Brandon and I had been together for more than 8 years. From kindergarten babble to the awkwardness of high school. Through our university days, we had been together for so long. Brandon went from the boy in the white shirt waiting by the window for me to pack my bag, to the successful man parking his car downstairs to pick me up from work. Everyone thought we would make it to the end. But now, Brandon was wearing a new couple's ring, his fingers interlaced with another woman's. Chloe's curious gaze kept sizing me up. Just when everyone thought we would coexist peacefully, she suddenly asked, "Alice, how did you and he break up?" The surroundings instantly went quiet. Brandon twitched the corner of his mouth, extremely indulgent toward her. "I told you before. Why do you keep asking?" Chloe pouted. "Who knows if you were lying to me?" I looked away and answered lightly, "People change. Tastes change. Look, he likes you now." She stole a glance at Brandon, a hint of guilt flashing across her face. "I didn't mean that. I just..." For the first time that night, Brandon looked at me. His eyes were cold, his tone carrying a warning. "Alice, that's enough." In his view, even my normal response was a provocation to Chloe. The atmosphere made me uncomfortable. I put down my napkin and stood up. "Excuse me. I need to use the restroom." Leaving the private room, I felt drained of all strength. No one told me he had someone else. Even 2 months ago, when I messaged Brandon saying, "I'm coming back," he had replied, "Welcome back." The restroom smelled weirdly distinct, a mix of cleaning supplies and something intimate. I leaned against the sink, turned on the tap, and wanted to cry. But I knew they were a normal couple. We had broken up. I shouldn't cling. Suddenly, the restroom door was pushed open. A flustered voice came through. Sorry. I left my lipstick here. It was Chloe. She saw me in my disheveled state. Stunned for a moment. Then stammered, trying to cover up. We didn't do anything. The tissues in the trash can. The lipstick dropped by the sink. And the 2 large and 2 small handprints on the mirror. Everything reminded me of what had happened. But she insisted on tearing open that window paper to humiliate me. I took a deep breath and moved aside to let her grab her things. Instead, Chloe stood in front of the mirror and started checking her lipstick. He was so sudden just now. I don't know if the lipstick broke. After speaking, she looked up at the mirror and acted annoyed. Alice, do you have a tissue? I want to wipe off the marks. It's all his fault. Saying no one would notice, she was using a posture of weakness to aggressively declare her ownership. Without a word, I turned and walked out. When Chloe followed me back into the room, she looked so sad her tears were about to fall. Brandon held her hand and frowned. What did she say? Don't worry. No one here can bully you. His friend, drunk, grunted in agreement. Exactly. You went through so much with Brandon. Just because she's back. Does she think you have to give up your spot? Who does she think she is? That sentence finally ignited my anger. Are you done? What? I looked up, suppressing my trembling lips. Didn't you want to know what she said? She said that when you were doing it in the bathroom, you forgot to wipe the mirror. So she had to clean it up again. Everyone simultaneously looked disgusted. Chloe's face turned pale. Can you please shut up? I was shaking with rage. Brandon, if you hadn't benefited a single cent from my academic research, you could criticize me. But you don't have the right. I clenched my hands tight, raising my voice. Mr. Brandon, did you understand what I said? I lost my temper completely. I slammed my chopsticks down in front of Brandon and Chloe. Everyone was scared silly. Brandon's face was dark, and he said nothing. Chloe was scared to tears, hiding in his arms. As I slammed the door and left, Brandon's friend was shouting, Brandon, lucky you didn't stay with her. Her temper is awful now. I walked out with a cold face, not stopping. The rainy season had passed, and cold air was sweeping through the city. Standing by the roadside, I received a call. After picking up, there were a few seconds of silence. Then, a clear, gentle voice came from the other end. Did everything go smoothly? My emotions suddenly broke the dam. Professor, I'm sorry. In my short time studying abroad, if there was anyone I respected, it was my mentor, Professor Benjamin. In his early 30s, he was already the youngest professor at the MO Medical Center. He was deeply accomplished in the field of biomedicine. We had had a fierce argument about my returning to the country. Benjamin had spoken with unprecedented coldness. Alice, you are the student I admire most. I have no right to comment on your private life, but ending your studies early is, in my opinion, an extremely unwise choice. Your research shouldn't end here. I came back anyway, full of reckless courage, hitting a dead end, with nowhere to go. I was ready to accept ridicule, but Benjamin said, I'm about to take off. We'll talk when I land. Where are you going? There's an academic conference in your city tomorrow. Alice. He called my name. Everyone takes a wrong turn sometimes. You can choose to keep going wrong, or you can choose to get back on track. I hope to see you there tomorrow. Looking at the night sky, I could imagine how he looked saying that. Peaceful and reserved. Wise and elegant. I wiped away my tears. My voice hoarse. I understand. Professor, I rented an apartment in the city center, in the same complex as Brandon. Originally, I wanted to be closer to him. Now, it had become the most nauseating place. When Brandon's friend called me, I happened to be closing the curtains. Coincidentally, from my window, I could see into Brandon's living room across the way. Two people stood by the window. Chloe was like a vine, softly clinging to Brandon. The curtains fluttered as they intertwined. On the phone, Brandon's friend was still rambling. Alice, I have a spare apartment in the suburbs. You should move there. Don't disturb them. She's more obedient than you, more considerate, and makes him feel less lonely. Think about where you fell short. Actually, I had no interest in arguing with Brandon's friend, unless he insisted on being despicable. You like Chloe, don't you? I interrupted him. What? I see them kissing. Brandon's friend suddenly froze. Then, as if exposed, shouted angrily, "Alice, are you sick?" He slammed the phone down. On the day of the conference, I met Brandon and Chloe. Of course, he had to come. This concerned the fate of his company. More importantly, the research results from Professor Benjamin and me would directly determine the industry's development direction for the next few years. Alice, who brought you in? Chloe held Brandon's arm, looking around. From her expression, she assumed I was a fraud who just went abroad to gild my resume. She assumed I needed someone else's help just to get into the venue. I ignored her, but she was relentless. If you have a new boyfriend, introduce us. Congratulations, Alice. Benjamin's voice rang out abruptly. The next second, he was by my side. Hello. I am Alice's mentor. And you are. I looked up and saw his sharp profile, cold and distant as always. He never liked interfering in students' private lives, let alone actively greeting others, afraid Brandon would offend him. I quickly answered, "This is my ex-boyfriend and his current girlfriend." Hearing this, the warmth in Benjamin's eyes was replaced by a layer of frost. Alice, it's about to start. Like we did before. I need you to lead the presentation. I had attended countless occasions like this. So naturally, I wasn't afraid. Wait, what are you going up there for? This was the first time I saw shock and confusion on Brandon's face. Funny, isn't it? After using my research results to make his company skyrocket, Brandon stopped caring about my achievements. He didn't even remember that my mentor was the renowned overseas scholar invited to this conference. I ignored him and left with Benjamin. Chloe, who had been hiding behind Brandon silently, followed us. She grabbed me off stage. Her tone was calm. Alice, what are you trying to prove with this? That you're better than me. Don't think too highly of yourself. The venue lights drew a clear line between us. I looked at her face, twitching slightly from a forced smile, and threw my words at her one by one. Honey, have you lost your mind? As I spoke, the house lights dimmed. A dazzling spotlight fell from overhead. Standing in the light, I didn't see Chloe's expression. As Benjamin said, people always take detours. Maybe I was possessed. Maybe I was blinded. But never give the power to someone else. Whether in career or love, Brandon's company became a top enterprise relying on my first batch of academic results. I wouldn't give Brandon a second chance. That night, I became the sought-after prize for many companies. Ivy League graduate, returned medical PhD, student of Professor Benjamin. These halos stacked together meant I spent the whole night exchanging pleasantries. During a break, I came out of the restroom. Brandon was waiting outside. Alice, long time no see. For a moment, I felt like I was back in the past. He was just as I had imagined, standing at the airport exit, wearing a black suit, smiling and saying to me, Alice, long time no see. When beautiful expectations are shattered by reality, only a broken reality remains. Even a disgusting one. I kept a straight face. President Brandon, isn't it a little late for that? Brandon's tall figure looked somewhat lonely. Last year, the company faced a crisis. That was my hardest time. Alice, it's not that I didn't try. I wanted to talk to you, but you were busy with experiments. Listening to his sudden complaint, I laughed mockingly. You blame me. A relationship falling apart is never just one person's fault. I kept a straight face. You were the one who proposed the breakup. You were the one who said we'd talk when I got back. Brandon, why say this extra bit? Is it so hard to admit you couldn't wait? Can we get back together? I slapped him. Brandon's head turned to the side, a red handprint appearing on his fair cheek. Brandon, are you cheap? I laughed in anger. Will you die if no one loves you? Whenever there's difficulty, you throw yourself into a woman's arms. When your mom was gone, you found me. When I was gone, you found someone else. Do you need a ghost marriage arranged for you when you die too? Brandon hung his head, but Chloe rushed out from somewhere and shoved me. Alice, how dare you hit him? Where were you when he swallowed sleeping pills to commit suicide? Stop it. Brandon interrupted her. Why hide it from her? Chloe threw off Brandon's hand. I stayed by Brandon's side without sleeping. What about you, Alice? Gilding yourself abroad. You come back successful, and everyone puts you on a pedestal. Does everyone have to accommodate you? Did I cause his depression? Did he tell me? I sneered. I gave him my academic results. He has money and power. What did I get? What did you get? Chloe laughed angrily. Don't you know how you look tonight? Thanks. I earned that. If he survived, he should thank the doctors. Why thank you? Even a nurse stays up all night watching patients. Why doesn't he marry the nurse? Chloe's face turned red as if she had suffered a huge injustice. He has depression. Don't you know? Annoying. How many times have you said that? Are you a repeater? I looked impatient. If he's sick, treat the sickness. Don't come at me. The moment Chloe cried, Brandon hugged her distressfully. Stop talking. I know in my heart who is good to me. That sentence stabbed into my heart like a needle. The MO Medical Center is at a high latitude, with snow all year round and temperatures below zero at night. I worked day and night, braving the severe cold between the lab and the dormitory. The results of 2 years of hard work. I gave to Brandon. He said he knew who was good to him. Tears of anger welled up. Brandon, your conscience has been eaten by dogs. Brandon pretended not to hear, kissed the tear-stained Chloe, and said softly, let's go home. I opened the glass door to the rooftop a bit too loudly, startling a few people into looking back. Benjamin had been sitting there for a while. First time seeing you lose your temper. I irritably let down my hair, suppressing my gloomy expression. Ran into some trouble. Nothing major. Benjamin looked at me with those blue eyes. It's okay. You don't need to suppress yourself. I turned to look at the city nightscape. Stars scattered like a chessboard. Traffic flowing like a river. The wind blew the hair by my ears, and the noise gradually faded. He's shameless. I suddenly cursed. Bastard. Benjamin leaned back and handed me a cup of tea. I wiped my tears, my hands trembling with anger. Benjamin spoke gently. Remember the first time you came to my lab? Yeah. I made a mess and cried. I knew your studying abroad wasn't voluntary. Normally, I would have told you to get lost. Benjamin leaned forward, interlacing his fingers, speaking seriously. But later, you took to it like a fish to water. I couldn't refuse your application. Everyone has their own path to walk. You can't stop someone from getting off halfway. Can you? Alice, you don't fit in here. I sat in the rattan chair, staring blankly at Benjamin. Professor, I thought you would say I should think it over clearly. He never liked meddling in others' private affairs. This was probably the most boundary-crossing thing he had ever said. Benjamin stared at me with those blue eyes for a while, lost in thought. Suddenly, the wind picked up. He spoke softly. Sorry. I had selfish motives too. The sentence was hidden in the wind. The tail end of it swept across my heart. A slight tremble. The academic conference ended before 10 o'clock. When I walked out of the conference hall with my bag, I found a crowd gathered in front of the door. There was a faint smell of ash in the air. Walking down the steps, I saw someone had placed a fire basin in front of my car. The flames had just gone out, and a few photos lay inside, burned until only half a face remained. They were photos of me. The onlookers were buzzing with discussion. Who did this? Such bad luck. This is cursing someone to die. On the car window, big words were written in lipstick. Mistress. Go die. The perpetrator, afraid people wouldn't see, had specifically chosen bright red and written it several times on the windshield and the white body of the car. Realizing I was the owner, people around started pointing at me. She looks respectable, but doing such trashy things. No wonder. Actually, there are lots of people like this. Academic Jezebels. Their results might not even be their own. Blood instantly rushed to my brain. Despite my good upbringing, I couldn't tolerate people throwing dirt on me again and again. Through the crowd, I caught Chloe's calm, brave gaze. Where did she get this audacity and confidence? I pushed through the crowd and walked straight toward her. Chloe didn't expect me to get physical directly. She froze on the spot. The next second, I grabbed her by the hair, dragged her over, and smashed her face onto the car window. My tone was icy. Lick it clean. She was scared silly. After being mute for a moment, she started struggling and crying. Let go of me. What are you doing? Dealing with you. My knuckles turned white. While holding her down, I used my free hand to call the police. The commotion attracted many onlookers. Suddenly, Brandon's angry shout came from behind the crowd. Alice. Let her go. That anxious look was something I had never seen before. As soon as he got close, I kicked over the fire basin. Ash covered his leg. I asked sharply, where did you get my photos? Brandon didn't answer directly. Instead, He pulled Chloe from my grip and shielded her behind him. If you have a problem, come at me. Chloe whimpered. Brandon, don't just watch. She hit me. Hit her back. I spat out a stray hair from my mouth and sneered. Chloe, do you have a death wish? Chloe shrank back in fear. Brandon choked. Alice, be reasonable. Why are you acting like a lunatic? Want to see something crazier? I took out a voice recorder. I pressed play. A relationship falling apart is never just one person's fault. Brandon, is it so hard to admit you couldn't wait? Can we get back together? Brandon, are you cheap? Brandon's pupils suddenly dilated, and he looked nervously at the stunned Chloe. Chloe, listen to me explain. Chloe's face was pale, crying pitifully. You still like her, don't you? What am I to you? A substitute. I held the recorder up between them and put it on loop. Can we get back together? Brandon, are you cheap? Can we get back together? Brandon, are you cheap? Chloe finally broke down, screamed, snatched the recorder, smashed it to pieces, and ran crying across the street. Brandon gritted his teeth and said, Alice, good job. He chased after her, leaving behind a mess and the silent onlookers. I scanned the crowd, then sat in my car without a word. After a long while, I covered my eyes and sighed deeply. The camera at the entrance recorded the whole process of Chloe destroying my car. She not only smeared my car with lipstick, but also stomped a few dents on my hood with her high heels. If I insisted on not settling, Chloe might be detained for a few days. Just a few days. Brandon offered several times the compensation. I sat in the mediation room, opposite Brandon and a reluctant Chloe. Brandon signed the settlement agreement and handed it to me. The police officer said, Ms. Chloe, the victim has asked you to apologize. Chloe looked at Brandon, looking aggrieved. I don't want to apologize. Brandon, you said no one could bully me, but why am I sitting here? She lowered her head, tears falling. Maybe I really can't compare to the weight of a childhood sweetheart in your heart, whether you admit it or not. He and I ended a long time ago. I explained coldly. Brandon took a deep breath and looked at me again. Alice, I gave you the money. Let it go. Brandon had really gotten arrogant over the years. Since when does the perpetrator get to say when to let it go? I pushed the agreement back and said generously, sure, let's let it go. Add another 20 to the compensation, and I'll let it go. Brandon's face darkened. You what? If your mouth is broken, you have to pay to fix it. Chloe kept her head down and said nothing. Brandon was speechless. He closed his eyes. Fine. Done. He paid very readily. He wasn't short of money. In fact, he had made a fortune. He was willing to spend a fortune for Chloe. But it had nothing to do with me. As long as I had the money, that was enough. Chloe's face quietly turned red. When we came out of the police station, she tugged at Brandon's sleeve. Sorry, I was wrong. Brandon sighed. It's not your fault. Chloe, I didn't protect you well. It was raining outside. I stood under the eaves, staring at the curtain of rain, silent for a long time. Really, it felt meaningless. More than 10 years of feelings, worn away completely in just a few days. I frowned as my phone received a text message. I froze when I opened it. I told you there was something fishy about Chloe and Brandon. A friend of mine found Chloe's Weibo. This is a photo she posted on May Day last year. You and Brandon hadn't broken up then, right? In the photo, Chloe was wrapped in a bathrobe, taking a selfie in a hotel mirror, making a cute face. Met up with my senior. He's so intense. In the corner of the mirror was the back of a man wearing a towel around his waist. She had quite a few fans commenting enthusiastically below. Watched you guys get here all the way. Go get him. Sister. Brother-in-law has a great body. Chloe replied. His stamina is great too shy. I held the phone. The dampness seeped into my bones. My hands and feet were cold. At that time, I had been abroad for less than a year. Without any results yet, Brandon had already hooked up with Chloe. Later, he shamelessly took my results and became a top player in the industry. How dared he? Brandon called out to me from behind. For the sake of knowing each other for so many years, you can consider cooperating with our company. I took a step back, putting distance between Brandon and me. A violent nausea rose from my stomach. I used almost all my strength to flatten my tone. I said coldly, control your girlfriend. Don't let her provoke me again. She won't. Brandon said with distant eyes. From now on, we only talk business. Okay. He still had the face to talk business with me. Before today, I just wanted to write him off. But now, I changed my mind. I wanted to ruin him. The rain was still falling. The pattering sound made people feel a bit dazed. Alice. Brandon called my name. I shook my head and smiled lightly. How much credibility do you think you still have in my heart? Brandon's lips pressed into a thin line. And he didn't speak for a long time. I took a ring wrapped in a sealed bag out of my pocket and threw it into the rainwater at his feet. Never found a chance to return it to you. Let's do it today. When we bought this pair of rings, we weren't as rich as we are now. The ring was very ordinary, far inferior to the one he wore on his ring finger now. I had worn it for many years. Brandon stared at our couple ring, his lip color turning a bit pale. Funny, right? He seemed to suddenly have memories, showing guilt on his face. Ollie, don't call me that. I took a step back, standing in the rain, instantly getting soaked. Brandon took a step to follow, but ultimately stopped because Chloe pulled him back. I twitched the corner of my mouth. Brandon, stay away from me in the future. When I got into Benjamin's car to leave, Chloe seemed to be making a scene with Brandon. She stood in the rain like a pitiful drowned dog, pushing away Brandon's arm, trying to hold her, shouting, "Didn't you want to cooperate with her? Go ahead. Don't come to me. I don't have her ability. I'm just a replacement anyway. You feel bad that she gets caught in the rain. Then I'll get soaked enough. Just let me die." The next second, Brandon kissed her fiercely. The umbrella fell to the ground. Rain poured down. The entrance of the police station turned into a scene of two drowned dogs. Still looking, Benjamin interrupted me with a smile. Careful not to get carsick. I withdrew my gaze expressionlessly. I do feel a bit nauseous. He laughed low. My fault. Evening rush hour. Traffic was congested. It invisibly extended the time we traveled together. I'm going back tomorrow. Benjamin suddenly spoke. Thank you for the gift. I like it very much. That sentence stunned me. I didn't recover for a long time. Actually, I was quite unaccustomed to being back these days. I often dreamed of being in the lab. That place felt more like home. I felt a sense of loss. Say hello to them for me. Benjamin tapped the steering wheel lightly, his fingers long and fair. After a while, he called, Alice. In that moment, our eyes met. We both saw something the other was holding on to in each other's eyes. Benjamin opened his mouth but didn't say anything, turning to a smile instead. I wish you all the best. Thank you. You too. The rain outside the window grew heavier, washing those unspoken, hidden feelings into the curtain of rain until nothing could be seen. After Benjamin left, I joined Brandon's rival company, Union Corp, for years. Because of the technology in Brandon's hands, Union had been suppressed and couldn't lift its head. On my first day, Union's CEO personally met me. Why is it you? As soon as I entered the office, I saw a familiar face. Xavier welcomed me, shaking my hand. Senior Alice. Long time no see. He was my junior from university. Excellent grades. Wealthy family background. After graduation, he inherited his father's company. To be able to rival Brandon was already impressive. This relationship made communication between us very smooth. Xavier poured me a cup of tea, his tone sincere. Actually, you can consider technology shares. Whatever Brandon can give, I can give too. He was very sincere, offering even more than Brandon. Xavier. I looked at him seriously. I don't doubt your sincerity, but shares aren't necessary. Why? Xavier frowned slightly. Do you still want to? I smiled. Who doesn't want to make money? Just not right now. Xavier, do me a favor. Recently, Chloe's account had been updated exceptionally frequently. Birthday gift from Senior. So excited. Congrats to Senior on reaching new heights in his career. Many people in the comments teased. Are you about to live the rich lady life? Laughing to death. Is relying on a man glorious? The person above is jealous. Right. If you were given a rich and handsome boyfriend, I bet you wouldn't refuse. No one wants you. Rest assured. The blogger is excellent too. Beautiful with a good figure. Providing emotional value. Amidst such praise, Chloe flaunted her life day after day. Perhaps hearing that I didn't get any great treatment after joining Union. In the industry, with a little asking around, one would know that working overtime late at night was common for me. Chloe started messaging me. Alice, Don't work too hard. Go out more. Find a boyfriend. Although it's unlikely to be someone as rich as Brandon. Sigh. I feel guilty. Brandon earned so much thanks to you. But unfortunately, now it's all spent on me. I ignored all of this. This situation lasted for half a year. My career showed no improvement. And Chloe, sharing her little rich lady daily life, accumulated quite a few fans and became a minor internet celebrity. Now when friends talked, they all praised Chloe, saying she was excellent enough to match Brandon. I gradually faded from everyone's sight. On an ordinary Friday night, Chloe's message arrived on time. Alice, I'm pregnant. It's Brandon's. Thank you for your hard work letting Brandon make money. Now I'm going to be Mrs. Brandon. Happy. Jealous. Followed by a grinning emoji. I had explained to her many times that Brandon and I had no relationship, but she didn't believe it. Honestly, Chloe's mental state over the past 6 months had headed in a very strange direction. Originally, my plan didn't include her. I even solemnly warned Chloe not to harass me anymore. Unfortunately, good words can't persuade a ghost determined to die. In just a few minutes, she started bombarding me. Do you not understand human language? I'm having a baby. Why are you still pestering Brandon? I am Mrs. Brandon, the legitimate wife. Have you no shame? Alice, if I find out you let him stay overnight again, I will put you on the internet. While she said these things, I was sitting opposite Brandon. You should care more about Chloe recently. Hearing this, Brandon looked up from the documents, frowning at me. Yeah, I know. I drank a sip of red wine, propping up my head. She's pregnant. Brandon's tone was stiff, avoiding the main issue. Drink less wine. It's bad for your health. I smiled and waved for the waiter to switch it to juice. Wiping my hands, I asked, since you stopped ending the nights with me recently, where have you been going instead of home? Brandon didn't answer directly but asked me, did Xavier only say this? This proposal seems incomplete. That's right. I had been privately contacting Brandon for 2 months, since Xavier's company was developing rapidly. Next month's bid made him Brandon's strongest competitor. I actively extended an olive branch to Brandon. Xavier can't give me much. I want to cooperate with you. Having known him for over a decade, playing the emotional card came easily to me. Feelings warmed up quickly. Every week, we would meet at a hidden, members-only Western restaurant. I gave him some intelligence, helping him deal with Xavier. But that was all. I disdained getting involved in other people's relationships, and I certainly wouldn't let him stay out all night. Brandon had complained more than once. If I knew it would be like this, you should have just cooperated with me directly. Why make it so complicated? I pinched my aching forehead. If I gave you the entire proposal, Xavier would send me to jail. As I spoke, I casually arranged my handbag. I'm going to the restroom. Read quickly. As soon as the words fell, the door was violently pushed open. Chloe led a few of her girlfriends and rushed in. It's her. She held up her phone, gritting her teeth, looking like she wanted to tear me into pieces. It had been a long time since I saw Chloe. She was much thinner, far from the glamour seen on camera. Her eye sockets were deep, her cheeks sunken. She looked visibly haggard. Before I could speak, I was surrounded by several women. What I heard were just those words. Shameless. Seducing a married man. Slut. Fortunately, the security at the place I chose was really solid. After a brief chaos, the security guards controlled them. I lost a few strands of hair in the struggle with them. Chloe cried hysterically. Look, everyone. This is how they bully a pregnant woman. Shameless. I wiped the scratches on my face and looked at Brandon. He sat in his seat from beginning to end, silent like most men caught cheating, as if it were only a women's battlefield, as if the fire would never burn him. I rolled up my sleeves, walked over, and slapped Brandon hard. Slap. The scene went dead silent. Brandon froze, covering his face, looking up at me in disbelief. What are you looking at? My tone was cold. If you want our cooperation to continue, control your girlfriend's mouth, or else we all die together. Funny to say, when I was young, I couldn't see through Brandon. I was attracted to him, willingly served as a stepping stone. As an adult, in just a few months, I saw through him completely. He was selfish, cold, and profit-driven. Seeing he still didn't move, I smiled calmly. Brandon, don't forget, We're committing a commercial crime. If caught, we go to jail. Chloe didn't understand what commercial crime was. She only knew that Brandon and I being in a room meant old embers reigniting. So she threw a tantrum recklessly, smashing the TV in the private room. But Brandon knew. His glamorous life absolutely could not end here. For the remaining few minutes, I became a spectator. For his future, Brandon entangled with Chloe and the others. This farce finally ended with a loud slap. Chloe covered her face, staring wide-eyed in disbelief. You hit me. A trace of regret flashed in Brandon's eyes. Sorry, Chloe. Chloe's face was pale, shielded by her best friends. She looked at him deeply, then left without looking back. Brandon stood with his back to me, looking lonely. After a long time, he said, Alice, Chloe is pregnant. She can't handle stress. This is the last time. After this ends, I'll give you shares. Let's not meet anymore. I picked up my handbag, feeling scornful. Every time we ended early, Brandon still didn't go home. Chloe sensed it, and he wanted to shift the blame to me. Dream on. I picked up my coat and brushed past Brandon. I warned softly, Brandon, try to accumulate some good karma. Accumulate some virtue. Otherwise, after you die, even hell won't have room for you. Half a month later, the bidding began. But Brandon was hit with a scandal. As an influential blogger, Chloe appeared on camera again after disappearing for half a month. There were bruises on her face and body. News of Brandon's domestic violence covered the internet. At the same time, it dragged out the affair between him and me. For a time, the curses online were overwhelming. I wasn't spared either. Xavier said on the phone, Alice, have you thought about this? You will be ruined. I looked at the photo sent by Benjamin. Him standing under the snowy mountains gazing at the sunrise. Those blue eyes were peaceful and gentle. Suddenly, I missed him a bit. Another page of the paper calendar on the desk was turned. I ticked a box with a pen. I only hope that when you become the industry leader, you fulfill the promise you made to me. Of course. Xavier still hadn't given up on me. Maybe you can consider staying here. If there's a chance in the future, I will. In just a few days, public opinion fermented rapidly. Even at work, people pointed at me. I often stared at the 19th floor of the office building across the street. That was Brandon's office. This day, he finally saw me. I waved to him. Brandon called me very quickly. I've controlled Chloe. It's time to release a clarification statement. As long as you post your alibi proving we weren't together, it'll be clear. Why didn't he post it himself? Because he really was doing bad things. Just not with me. I sat in my cubicle, lazily crossing my legs. The sun shining warmly on me. Brandon, I don't want to post it. His voice tightened. Why? Because I love you. Right. I said mockingly. Alice is so stupid. Even after being betrayed once, she's willing to slave away for Brandon. These were the exact words he said to his friend on the phone last week. I accidentally overheard them. To say Brandon was smart wasn't quite right, because he was willing to believe that women were stupid. Useless things ruled by emotion. That thought itself was stupid. Brandon stuttered on the other end, turning angry from embarrassment. Alice, what exactly do you want? As long as we get through this crisis, I can marry you. Even now, he thought we were grasshoppers on the same rope. What about Chloe? What about the child? I laughed at his answer, teasing him like a dog. He started getting anxious. Alice, stop playing. Okay. No. I stood up, gently tapping on the window glass. Brandon, handle your own mess. Hanging up the phone, I saw him seeming to press against the floor-to-ceiling window, staring fiercely at me, like a trapped beast. When trapped in a cage, madness isn't far away. This turmoil caused huge losses for Brandon. I refused to testify, and Xavier called the police, accusing Brandon of conspiring with me to steal trade secrets. In front of the police, Brandon honestly confessed where he went on those nights he didn't go home. I was next door, listening to another farce. This time, Chloe completely broke down. She threw the medical report hard onto Brandon's face. Haha, Brandon, you're just great. Did you ever think about our child when you were having fun with them? Did you think about me? It turned out it wasn't one, but several. I tried to blink out, letting my eyes lose focus, holding back the urge to laugh. The police officer banged on the table. keeping a straight face. What are you doing? Focus. I didn't do it. If you didn't do it, why did he have your company's data? That I don't know. Actually. Very quickly. They found the video of my secret meeting with Brandon that day. While I got up to go to the restroom, Brandon opened my handbag. He opened my laptop and inserted a USB drive. It was him who obtained trade secrets through illegal means. It had nothing to do with me. I was acquitted. Unfortunately, it was raining again. It seemed every time I came to a place like this, it was raining. I preferred snow. Xavier stood at the door, holding an umbrella to pick me up. A man in his 30s, showing excitement like a young boy. Alice. I really didn't know Brandon was so messy in private. As he spoke, he laughed out loud. 7 or 8 of them. He's really something, ha ha ha. Right. Anyone would laugh losing a rival for free. Halfway through laughing, he stopped. You have sharp eyes. How did you fall for him back then? Did you check his health? I smiled. Don't worry about me. Better think about how to make money. When I first entered medical school, the teacher told us, before getting intimate, check the infectious disease report. So, for all these years, I hadn't been in a rush to proceed to the next step. Instead, I dodged a bullet. Chloe had an abortion and was tortured out of human shape. She leaned foolishly on the public bench, washing her face with tears. I didn't want to acknowledge her, but as I passed by, she called out to me, "How are you okay?" I looked down at the wedding ring she wore, sighed, and put the business card of a classmate in the infectious disease department into her hand. Be strong. When Brandon gets out, I choked up. I'll rely on you to support him. After speaking, I covered my face and ran toward Xavier, who was laughing like crazy. Behind me came Chloe's furious roar. She almost hit me. My agreement with Xavier was that I would provide technical shares to help make his company the leader. He would help me put on a show to bring down Brandon's company. But I didn't expect Xavier to show the utmost sincerity. He gave me the real data. This led to Brandon actually causing him a 20 million loss. He agreed from the start with the intention of sending Brandon to jail. Commercial crime, plus long-term illicit money for sex transactions, got Brandon sentenced. As they say, when a wall is falling, everyone pushes. The fact that he forced me to study abroad and cheated with Chloe early on was spread online by interested parties. So Chloe was the mistress. Scum man and cheap woman. They deserve getting sick. Good thing Alice is educated and has a high degree. An average person would have just suffered in silence. From returning to knowing the truth, to the dust settling, a year had passed. I booked a ticket, ready to leave. Before leaving, I went to visit Brandon, a man who lost everything and suffered from an incurable disease. How pathetic. He was no longer the spirited man of the past. Skin and bones. Are you satisfied? His voice was hoarse. Alice, I didn't expect you to be so vicious. Just because I didn't keep a promise. You wanted to put me to death. He must have thought that cheating and playing with feelings wasn't a crime worthy of death. Right. I laughed out loud. Brandon, I need to make money too. What? His dark eyes stared intently at my face. What do you mean? I held the receiver and leaned close enough for him to see every detail on my face. Then, I raised my eyes, revealing a mocking smile. I need to clear the market. If you don't fall, how can I dominate alone? How can I make money? Did you really think I would be trapped by love and never recover? My big smile was reflected in Brandon's pupils. Feelings. Just playing around. Brandon, you are not worthy of being my partner. So, I'm sorry. I had to get rid of you. This was probably the most terrifying thing Brandon had ever heard in his life. His pupils dilated. He slowly leaned against the glass. After a brief silence, he suddenly started banging violently, roaring like a beast, seemingly wanting to tear me apart. I gently hung up the receiver and stood up gracefully. From today on, I became one of the shareholders with the highest stake in Union Corp. In the next few years, I would personally go to the US to build a bridge for domestic and foreign technical communication. Before me lay a blue ocean. The rotten fish and shrimp were destined to stay on the shore, heading toward the end of their fate. On the day of departure, Xavier was at the airport, holding a bouquet of roses to confess to me. Alice, actually, I really like you. He liked being direct. Rejected by me countless times, he still persevered. I touched the delicate roses and asked, love or money? Pick one. Money. he answered without hesitation. After speaking, we both laughed. I took the roses. Thanks for the flowers. I'll take it as a tribute to your senior. Xavier stared at me seriously for a while, then suddenly stepped forward and hugged me. Alice. Safe travels. Leave things here to me. Don't worry. Look forward to seeing you next time. Then, he let go of me and forcefully pushed me into the security check, not allowing me to look back at him even once. A year later, standing at the entrance of the MO Medical Center again, I felt like I was back in the past. The first time I stood here, harboring thoughts of Brandon and reluctance to leave home. Nothing had changed. Busy fellow students, snowmen piled randomly, and the vast snowfield stretching for miles with rare human traces. It was snowing again. In this high-latitude foreign land, spring seemed forever out of reach. But it was also here that I found my ideal. In the collision of human thought, I saw the light of science, and the hope for the continuation of human civilization. I rubbed my cheeks, red from the cold. Before I could approach, the door slowly slid open. A cold, tall figure stood at the entrance. Those light blue eyes bloomed with a warm smile. In an instant, spring seemed within reach again. Benjamin reached out his hand and smiled at me. Alice, welcome home.